If you're watching this video, there is a high chance that you belong to the 7% of the world population that can be called blessed or gifted. That statement might be hard to accept, but it comes from a person that few years ago could not leave the house for more than 100 meters due to intense anxiety attacks. But that person is now able to go hiking 5 to 6 hours in the mountains alone and do that 2 times a week, and did that without eliminating anxiety, without overcoming anxiety, and without curing anxiety. It came from a single shift I made internally, and that's what I'm gonna share with you in this video. So what was that shift? I will tell you in a few seconds, but first let me share with you that I'm not completely healed from anxiety, and there are still a few things that I'm unable to do. For example, at the time of recording this video, I can still not walk over high bridges or get up high buildings or swim in the ocean or drive long distances by car over the highway due to intense anxiety attacks. But anxiety no longer dominates my life and no longer limits the joy I feel each day, but in fact, anxiety has become a foundational element of a fulfilling life. If you ever had an anxiety or panic attack, you know that it feels like your life is in serious danger. And even though you're in a relatively safe situation. And when I reflected on all my panic attacks and anxiety attacks, I got an insight because, wow, I realized that the experience of anxiety is actually quite well matching up with the definition of adventure. Because as one of my favorite mountaineers once said, Reinhold Messner, an adventure is when you put yourself in a situation where you could die, but you survive. And when I started to see my experience of anxiety attacks as an adventure, I no longer became so frustrated with it, but in fact I became grateful for it. Because there are millions of people out there that have to do crazy things and pay thousands to get this experience of adventure in their lives. But I get this experience of adventure for free and in everyday situations. And this made it much easier for me to stop avoiding certain situations because they would trigger anxiety inside myself, but instead put myself in those situations where I could feel intense danger over and over again. And I start to call these my mini adventures, and at the beginning those were just a walk around the block or cycling a few hundred meters away from my home. And I started to have fun doing this, and I turned from seeing myself as anxious to seeing myself as adventurous. Now, most of the things that feel like an adventure to me, for other people, would be boring, normal things. But to me, thanks to the higher levels of anxiety, these are exciting adventures. And that shift in perspective made it possible for me to go from nearly homebound, where I couldn't leave the house for more than a few hundred meters, to now going hiking in the mountains for 5 to 6 hours, 2 times a week, and do all that alone without a safe person. It didn't happen overnight. It started with small walks around the block, then longer walks, then small hikes, then longer hikes. So if you've been seeing anxiety as a curse, I hope this video helps you to shift towards seeing it as a gift, and you become more adventurous in your own world. And then as a result, your life becomes more joyful and more fulfilling and more exciting. Let me know if this video made sense to you in the comments below. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel by clicking the button in this corner of the video. And you might also want to check out this video here.